Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Muthurajah, and I'm back with a new series. I thought quite hard about it, and with a few suggestions from some friends, I decided to talk about chords on the bass, how I approach them, and what I do with them. Just a disclaimer, this is purely an artistic thing. You don't have to, it's not a necessity to play chords on the bass, but it's something I like to do, and it's helped me understand playing changes and playing music in general a lot too. So for those groove police, please don't hate on me. Anyway, moving on. So I'm going to be talking about two things for the first part. The first thing is the 4 fundamental triads and their respective inversions. And the second thing is chord cycles, which is a very interesting concept to practice for any musician, really. So triads. And yes, it's all going to be on a 4-string, so some of it might be a little tricky to visualize, but that's the fun. So triads, let's take a look at good old C major. First things first, when I play chords, I like to spread the notes. So I don't like to play them I don't like to cluster them up all the time. Sometimes I would, but that depends on my choice. So C major, C, G, E, and then inversion, E, C, G, G, E, C. Right, minor, C, G, E flat, E flat, C, G, G, E flat, C. Augmented, C, G sharp, E, E, C, G sharp, G sharp, E, C. And diminished would be C, E flat, F sharp, but I will not play them in the same order, and that's what you should also understand, that C, E, G is not meant to be played C, E, G. To me, that's just a very ugly sound, at least for the most part. Sometimes it could work, but that's just me again. So C, F sharp, E flat, E flat, C, F sharp, E flat, C. Right, so those are your 4 triads, fundamental triads, and in their respective inversions. Now let's take the concept of chord cycles. Now chord cycles are very interesting because it starts to take you into the world of voice leading. So before that, let me just play to you diatonic triads in the key of C going up, right? So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then C major, but I don't have the range. And obviously you can do that with minor scales. And back down. So now chord cycles, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you do 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4. What happens after that? 6, and then 1. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess. Or you can do 1, 4, 7, 3. So basically you're moving it in stepward motion. You're intervallically playing a cycle. So that's what I mean by chord cycles. So if I say cycle 3, you're playing the chords in thirds. So C major goes to E minor, to G major, to B diminished, to D minor, to F major, to A minor, to C major. Cycle 4 would be C, F, B, E, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to play the cycle, but I'm not going to play with voice leading, right? So C major, E minor, G major, B diminished, D minor, F major, A minor, C major. So just now I played all in root position. inversion. It sounds nice, but it still sounds very disruptive because there is no smooth movement. So, for the sake of keeping this visually and orally simple, I'm going to play it in the second inversion. I'm going to start with the second inversion. So C major, I'm going to start second inversion, that is G, E, C. So now G, E, C. Now E minor is E, G, B. So all I have to do is move the C down to B. And now after E minor comes G major. So all I have to do now is move this E to D. And then after G major comes B diminished. And all I have to do is move the G to F. And then I have D minor, move that B to A. And then I'll have F major, I move the D to C. Then I'll have A minor, I move the F to A. And then I move the I move the F to E. And then the A goes down to G, back to C major. So without the talking, and then it just continues. So on and so forth. So you will notice that it gives you an immediate color to your chords because you're moving in a very specific direction. Like you play the first chord and then you're moving a note or two notes and the voices take turns moving. So it just makes it so smooth. And it just sounds so nice. And then you can explore the non-diatonic side of it, which I'll talk about in the second part. So that's cycle 3. Now let me just, for the sake of demonstration, demonstrate cycle 4. So cycle 4 would be C major, F major, B diminished, E minor, A minor, D minor, G major, back to C. So C major, F major, then it would be B diminished, right? Yep. B diminished to E minor to A minor to D minor to G major to C. Now obviously if I had the range, I would have, after this G major, I would have just gone up to that C major. So that's the cool thing about the jazz bass, because it's limited, first of all, 4 strings, and you only have 20 frets up to the E flat. So you're forced to visualize the rest of the neck too. So that's cycle 4. Then you can do cycle 5, cycle 6, and cycle 7 is just going down the scale. So yeah, these are the 2 things. Just to recap, the 4 fundamental triads: your major, minor, augmented, and diminished, and then playing your triads in a diatonic scale, diatonic key, like going up and down, the usual stuff. And then chord cycles, where you do cycle 3, 4. Basically, you're playing the chords in those intervallic movements. So that's it for the first part. I hope you dig this, and I will see you in the shed and with part 2 in the next couple of days. Peace.